Blog Talk Radio.
Wednesday night, 7 p.m., March 11th. This is the LMP show, also known as Late Night Parent Radio. I am Ted Hicks. The phones are ringing. The dogs are barking. You name it. Everything's going on here. Tonight's show is called Northern Lights. Folks, hold on one second. It's like the OK Corral that's going on here. It's like the OK Corral that's going on here right now. I'm sorry for the interruption, but I got to tell you, tonight, oh my goodness, we've got internet outages, we've got a little bit of everything, but this is a day in my life. I got to tell you guys, it's the LMP show. Whether you're listening to us live, and I hope you aren't listening to this live because I've got to edit the you-know-what out of this. If you're listening to us through the stream, oh, my goodness, this was a crazy day. This was a really crazy day. But you can catch us, whether every week on the Happy Hour Network. You can catch us, that's live. You can catch us on Facebook.com, Twitter.com, Late Night Parent, or Real Ted Hicks. I am Ted Hicks, or you can catch us through the latenightparent.com site. We got to thank our friends and our various radio partners. I've never had a show start off kind of like this, so you never know what to expect. But as I've said before, it's like, as my boy Big Haz always says, New York to L.A., New Zealand to the UK. We're everywhere, live, talking about what we talk about every week, whether it's parenting, technology, education. This, like I said, there was so much that happened this week. During the third segment, we're going to talk about Apple Watch. We're going to talk about the MacBook. We're going to talk about the USB-C. At 30 minutes past the hour, we're going to talk to Dr. Chris Meletis, naturopathic doctor. He's going to talk about the rights and wrongs, what to eat. And at 5 minutes past the hour, we're going to talk to Nicole Monique from That's What She Said Sports, where we're going to talk about not only her podcast, talk about her syndication deal, 1100 AM in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to talk about, basically their entire team. So we're going to talk. I just want to get her on the line first, so we'll start right there. So hang on one second. We're going to play a quick promo, and we'll be right back with you.
Baseball, beer, and barbecue. Discussing baseball, good drinks, and food with Ted Hicks and Lee Vowell every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. on the Happy Hour Network. The Big Orange Show, talking all of the University of Tennessee athletic teams. Every Monday at 8 p.m. on the Happy Hour Network.
Okay, so Nicole is scheduled for 5 minutes past the hour. We're going to try and get in touch with her. But in the meanwhile, while we get in touch with her, we're going to talk real briefly about what happened this week in the wonderful world of Apple. There were, I like to call them the masters of the universe. That's Tim Cook, because he stood up there at Cupertino office and talked about how the Apple Watch was going to change your life, change your world, and how, you know, everything was just great. I got to tell you, the performance that was put on, the presentation, was excellent. But I guess there's a lot to be desired. I mean, I'm a career IT person, and I kind of sat back and just waited and watched. And we're going to just briefly talk about, the long-awaited Apple Watch. It arrives April 24th, and it can be yours for just $349, or $10,000 if you have deep pockets. I mean, it's the gadget that finally helps smartwatches take off, just like any other wrist-worn device that costs too much and does too little. So it's kind of like if you're unsure whether, what you want to plunk down, because everyone's working hard nowadays. Do you really have $10,000 to put down for something like this? And you got to really ask yourself, is it worth it? How does it work? I mean, the Apple Watch itself, it requires iPhone 5 or better. So it's kind of like the 5, 5C, 5S, 6, 6 Plus, and you got to be running. I just got a text. They want to know, can they borrow some money so that they can, purchase an Apple Watch? But you got to be running iOS 8.2X or later. So the big question is, as of, I think it was yesterday, I don't know if you noticed on your iPhone, but you got the latest update, and you had an icon on your desktop for the Apple Watch. So once you get this update for the Apple Watch, and you add it to your iPhone, which you'll download and organize your apps, they'll show up on the watch. So depending on use, the Apple Watch itself will last for about 18 hours. I don't know anything that'll last for 18 hours. I mean, even if you take Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, all the above, it's not lasting 18 hours. I'm sorry, folks. So you'll need to charge it each night. So you're going to snap that little magnetic circular charger and plug it inside your watch and juice it up. There's a digital crown button that's on the top left of the watch main button. You use it to scroll, zoom, and navigate. But the main thing is to ask yourself, what does it really do? It gives you notifications and messaging are at the heart of the Apple Watch. So instead of pulling out that Apple Watch and looking at it, pulling out your iPhone and looking at it every, 2 minutes, waiting for that latest tweet or latest text message, you can have the Apple Watch. So you can just glance over at your wrist and see if you want to take the call, respond to a message, read an email. Folks want to, it's really, you're looking on the display to reveal preset responses to messages. So, it's going to be the latest and greatest. This is Jimmy Ives at his best. So you're going to have like a control center on your iOS where you can swipe the button on the screen of the Apple Watch to see glances, which are like little snippets of information that you'll need, like weather, maps, music. I mean, for reading email on your watch, I got to tell you, I wear glasses. I am nearsighted, and that will be a sight to see. But for reading emails on your wristwatch, you can flag it, mark it as read or unread, move it to the trash, or open it on your iPhone. So for the folks, if you're a man or woman of a few words, Digital Touch lets you send a sketch, tap, or pulse to send someone else who's wearing an Apple Watch. Send to a person. So you can press your two fingers on the screen, and the heart rate monitor will read and send your heartbeat. I mean, I don't know if I really want this watch or this phone, doing all of this for me. I'm not really sure. But, for the folks that are into something like that, then great. I'll get to number 10. Trying to meet up with someone, the Apple Watch can send them your location. So you ever had that question? You're going on that blind date, and you're looking for the person, and you're not really sure, and you could just basically send out your GPS coordinates. I think that's a little too much for me. I'm going to stop right there and hold on for a second and say, okay, these are 10 features of the Apple Watch already. So I don't know if you're sold or you're not sold on it. Me personally, before I start ripping into it, I'm going to say first and foremost that I'll take a deep breath. I'll get my composure, and I'll say I'm not sure if I'm willing to kick out X amount of dollars to get this going, to make this purchase, knowing that within the next 18 to 24 months, there's going to be a version 2. I mean, we all know Apple. We all know the phenomenon behind it. We've seen for years people waiting across America and abroad at the stores for the launch of their products. So let me get right back into items 11 through 20. Paying for things via Apple Pay in the U.S. with your wrist. There was this long presentation about you paying for things and all the, I think there's up to 700,000 either stores and or banks or businesses that are taking Apple Pay. I think about 6 months ago we had I think Rich Valdez on here, and we were talking about Apple Pay because I think that was the beginning of the conversation. We were talking about streaming TV, and then for some reason we went into Apple Pay itself, with that being the new feature, So, and we were talking, I think it was really more, we were really talking more about security. So, Apple Pay is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. You had a few places that, backed away from it, but, all the major retailers are there. App scheduling to launch the Apple Watch to use Instagram, MLB at Bat, the Night Plus running app, OpenTable, Shazam, Twitter, WeChat, and more. So, okay. So we know about the Apple ecosystem. We know about the providers and or vendors that are already, on board with them. And I just named them. Number one, Instagram. Yes, I know Facebook purchased Instagram and, they're going back and forth, but MLB is definitely with, the Apple Watch. As you know, earlier they were talking about the HBO Now. They're all together, working together. Don't think for 1 minute. But I want to stop right here and say, okay, now we know with that being the case, and we're okay with it, with all these different providers working together. But just think